Hello everyone, in today's video I'm going to show you 7 Terraform functions that will change the way you write your code. The first function I will start with is the merge function, which combines 2 or more maps in a single one. Let's take a look at an example. We'll do a default tags, and this is environment, say dev, owner is me, and then we do a custom tags, and this would be project, awesome project, and also let's do an owner again and say you. And of course, let's make it actually work because we wanted to show us what is the output of the merge. And now we can use in an output merged map and say this is equal to merge of local.default tags and local.custom tags. Because you can see in both maps the owner key right here, what happens when a merge is done in this particular order is it will use the latter value of it because I'm using local.custom tags as the second argument. If I change it the other way around, it will use the owner key from the default tags variable. So let's do a Terraform init and let's do a Terraform apply to see it in action. So as you can see, it's environment dev, it's owner you, and the project is awesome project. The second function I want to show you, it's lookup, which actually goes through a map and checks for a key. If the key exists, it will return the value of that key. And if it doesn't exist, it will return a default value. So let's see how this looks like. I will just create another locals block in here and change this to something else. I'll leave it as my tags. And in an output, I would say lookup in map. And for the value, I will say lookup local.my tags, and I will search for the owner tag. Otherwise, I will return doesn't exist. So let's do a Terraform apply again. And you can see the lookup in map is me. If I change this to something that doesn't exist, it will return doesn't exist. The next function I want to show you is flatten, which takes a list of lists and returns a single flattened list. Let's see it in action again. So I'll do my list is equal to, let's do 1, 2, 3, and do a 4, 5, 6. And we can do another, let's make it even more complicated and say 1, 2, 4, 5, 6. And now we can say in the output, flattened list, and this would be equal to value of flatten of local.my list. So let's see a Terraform apply, and we can see the flattened list. It's just a single list with all of the elements in here. Doesn't really matter on how many nested levels the list goes on. The next function I want to show you is cidrsubnet, which calculates subnets from a base cider. And let's see it in action. I'll do a locals block and say VPC cider. This is equal to 10.0.0.0/16. And let's say subnet 1. This would be equal to cider subnet of local.vpc cider. Let's do the new bits number. This will be equal to 8 and this would be equal to 1. And let's do subnet 2. The same thing, but we will change just the last parameter right here from 1 to 2. And let's see how this calculates stuff. We'll define an output and say subnet 1. This is equal to local.subnet 1. And we will do another output and say subnet 2. This is equal to local.subnet 2. Let's do a Terraform apply. And we can see our subnets being calculated properly. The next function I want to show you is the format function, which works like printf. So you can format different strings with it. So let's do a locals block again and say A equals to Alice, B equals to Bob, and C equals to format hello %s from %s, and we will do local.a, local.b, and in an output we will say C and the value would be local.c, and this will say hello Alice from Bob. So let's just Terraform apply, and we can see that C is equal to hello Alice from Bob. Similarly, there's another function called format list that works in the same way as format does, but instead of taking a string as an input, it will take a list. There are a lot of data type conversion functions, but I will just mention toset. So basically, a set in Terraform behaves like a set in any programming language. It looks like a list, but it doesn't actually accept any duplicates. So let's do locals and create my awesome list, and this will be equal to 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 4, 4, 5, and we can do in an output my awesome set for this one, and we can say value is equal to toset of local.myAwesomeList. So if I run Terraform apply, we are going to see the value of this list changing. It won't have any duplicate elements inside of it. Now we can see my awesome set is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Another interesting function is replace, which replaces all instances of a substring in your string. Let's do a locals block again. So we can say my string is equal to dev.mydomain.com, and we can say my prod string, it will be equal to replace, and we can say dev with prod, and of course we don't have to forget about local.myString. So now in the output we will say my prod string, and the value would be local.myProdString. So if I do a Terraform apply again, we can see that my prod string is equal to prod.mydomain.com. Let me know in the comments what Terraform functions are you using on a daily basis. If you like this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell to get notified when new videos come up. I'm Flavius, see you the next time.